Russian President Vladimir Putin has accused NATO of being an indirect accomplice to crimes committed by Kyiv. He also accused Western powers of working to disintegrate and control Russia. On the ground, the Moscow-backed Wagner group says its fighters have captured the village of Yahidne north of Bakhmut. Fighting has been concentrated around the city for weeks. Let's get more on the view from Moscow. We can speak to Osama bin Javed, who is in the Russian capital for us. Osama, Putin levelling new criticism in NATO. This is the first time we've heard from the Russian president, isn't it, since Western allies hit Moscow with new sanctions?
Well, yes, obviously, this is the latest round of sanctions which came into effect yesterday. 87 entities, 43 individuals who've now all been named in this latest round of EU sanctions, where it seems to be now honing in on the individuals and entities which have been able to help Russia circumvent all of these previous sanctions. 11,000 in total in the last 1 year that have been applied to Russia. So President Vladimir Putin obviously wants to come out and tell his people and the outside world as well that this is an existential battle for Russia. It is continuing its fight against what he calls an alliance which wants to defeat Russia. And interestingly enough, after his State of the Union address, where he did mention Russia suspending the New START treaty with America, again, he's talked about nuclear capabilities of not just the United States, but all the Western powers which Russia says it is fighting against, because it sees Ukraine as a proxy army of the West, not just Ukrainian forces.
And what are you hearing about the fighting that is continuing on the front lines around Bakhmut in eastern Ukraine?
Well, in the last few months, you've seen that Russia has concentrated reinforcing its positions, and the Wagner contractor group, seen as mercenaries by Ukraine and its allies, have been able to inch by inch take more territory, especially in the Donetsk region. The city of Bakhmut remains the flashpoint for the last few months, where there's been dogged fighting between the two groups, both sides entrenched, trying to make sure that they have the upper hand. But in the last few days, we've seen these statements from the Wagner group that they've been able to take villages from the south, they've been able to advance from the north. Yesterday, we heard from the Russian Ministry of Defense sources saying that they're investigating Ukrainian forces blowing up a dam to slow down their advances in the city of Bakhmut. It remains a flashpoint, but it is not a strategic city. It is more of a city which is going to give them a depot, a movement, sort of a position which is going to be symbolic rather than strategic. But this fight remains on the eastern parts of Ukraine, where majority of the people are Russian speakers, and that has been used as a pretext to the war by Russia, saying that it is fighting for those people who want to be part of Russia, no longer Ukraine.